Hey, everybody. Michelle is here. Michelle is in the building on this 12/14/2023. I think it's a Thursday. Yep, it is a Thursday. Baby, I just finished my walk. And with me, when I walk, I allow my thoughts to kind of swirl around, flow around, just so I can get some ideas and some sparks of things I need to consider, based on the goals that I have and the things I want to do. And it always I've talked about my ventures and the things I want to do, and I know usually the challenges most people have is just having the finances, the funds, the money to get things done and do what you got to do, and I think that's almost 80% of the challenge, really. Whereas, and then 20% of it, I'm assuming is on the venture itself. In other words, whatever your purpose and goals and intentions are. I plan to do some things that are like volunteer like, or mentoring like, where I can get some information from people that are in the field that I'm choosing to go into, and see if I can pick up some ideas, of course, suggestions, some feedback, some information, and this and that and the other. Because I know this is what I want to do. I know that. But I don't want anything like money to determine whether it's successful or not. You understand what I mean? I hope you do. This is just the way it is for us. We've allowed the materialism to take center stage over sometimes the activity itself or the venture itself, whether it's a nonprofit, a small business, or venture, or a corporation, or this or whatever it is. It always is about money, finances, and that's so unfortunate. But that's just the complexities of who we are and what we are right now, in during this space and time. That is that's the thing that's constantly swirling around in every activity, every intention, every purpose. Any kind of, if somebody wants to do good, you have to have money to do good. That's the reality, and that's what we're being told, and that's what a lot of people are doing, per se. In other words, if you're not doing this or that or the other, okay, forget about it. And usually you get that from people that are in the field, of course, and they're just giving you their feedback. And I appreciate it. I have no issues with people telling me things. But the common denominator is always about financing. It's always about the money. It's always about what they say, the love of money. Before anything can get off the ground, it's for the love of money. So, of course, I have some issues with that because I know that that's not necessarily true, per se. But how am I going to convince billions and billions of people that that's not true? How and first of all, it's not really my responsibility to be convincing people anyway. But my point is this: if there is something of importance that has to be disseminated, it'll get disseminated. That's my optimism about that, and that's my enthusiasm about that. I had a meeting with someone that's helping me, and the things, I accept everything that's being told to me about what I need to do. And I know nothing's easy, and I don't expect anything to be easy, but I don't want any particular activity to take precedent, to take more center stage than the actual purpose. In other words, take center stage over the endeavor, over the purpose, because that's how people lose focus on everything. I know that there's billions. Well, let's say millions. I know there's millions upon millions of nonprofits out there, millions upon millions of small businesses out there, millions and millions of corporations, LLCs. That's where a lot of the elites, they hide behind LLCs. I know that I can say billions because of, if I can encapsulate all of that, even investors. It's about that focus is that all of that conversation is on finance. It's not, I rarely hear them talk about the actual purpose or the intentions. It's about, it's about the money. It's about funding and raising money and, seeking donations, seeking financial support, financial funding. So that's why it's so hard for people to get off the ground. Okay, I know that for a fact. And so I know a lot of people say the best intentions. What do they say? This term, these people in their quotes. But let me pull up it. I still sense that intentions matter. Now, all because we are degenerate in certain factors. In other words, degenerate meaning we're very, very badly out of control of good human nature. Okay, that's the whole planet. It doesn't mean you need to step away from your intentions or your purpose. In other words, I think that's what a lot of people do. Okay, they see that, it is a steep hill to climb. To be of a person like, hey, I don't want to be bothering people for funding. I don't want to be begging people, not necessarily begging them, but asking people for money in these financial times, So that's why I don't necessarily focus on it. I really don't. But I know it's an issue. It's always an issue. And so that's why I was not always concerned growing up, because I had all kind of skills. And that is so important. That's the point I'm making. I have all type of skills, and I can get any type of job I want if I put in the effort. I know that. I've done it. Now, it's not about, look, we all need to provide for ourselves. We all need to be able to stand on our own 2 feet and be held responsible and accountable for our behaviors and actions and providing for ourselves, taking care of ourselves. But when you are developing, you must consider, let's not say must, because that's a command word. It's a good idea to consider that if you could take your focus away from the financing and the funding and raising the money, you determine, because I asked this question a while, I said it and I asked the question. I said creators like myself will do something whether they get paid or not. And I mean that with me. I'll give you, all these videos I get out, the podcast, all that stuff is coming from me. I financed all of that. I'm financing everything as far as incorporating my nonprofit, doing the trademarks, all that is coming out of my pocket. Okay, and I know that regardless, I still would have done it. I still would be doing what I'm doing, whether I got paid or not. I know that it's important to protect myself, though. Unfortunately, so many people with this emissive. I mean, they have so much talent, and but yet they get burned. And that's harmful, because then what? How are they going to feed themselves? How are they going to support themselves? And I told you, most of the people that are homeless are creative types. I can guarantee, if someone does a survey on that, most of them were creators, meaning they had some type of artistry, they had some type of literary abilities. They were creatives. The creatives are the ones that make the world go round, in my opinion. They bring the inspiration, the joy, the enthusiasm, the fun, the freedom. That's what a creative does. It's just unfortunate that it has been that most creators get eaten up by these wolves. These sheep in wolves' clothing, or sheep's in. I mean, it's just unfortunate that so many creative people get taken advantage of, and then a lot of them get these addictions to this and that and the other. Most of them lose it mentally. They've lost it mentally, and a lot of like I said, sheep's in wolves' clothing, or wolves in sheep's clothing, whatever that metaphor is. Because, see, the metaphors can change. Metaphors have changed, where whether somebody is in sheep's clothing or wolves' clothing, they still are able to, kind of penetrate through the environment, navigate through the environment, and take advantage of people. Okay, and ruin them, and mostly in their consciousness. Okay, because they know that's what they know. That's the degeneracy I talk about, and the deviancy. Okay, we've been badly out of control of good human nature for thousands of years. So whoever presents themselves to you, like a lot of people say, well, gosh, how would you? Did you pick up the red flags? Did you pick up this and pick up? We kind of, bang the, just attack creative people like that, and wondering why they lose money all the time, why they lose ownership to this, why they don't own nothing. Okay, they own nothing. But they're the ones that made these empires possible because of their creativity. A lot of creativity is stolen. I would say the majority of it is stolen. Nobody has the original thoughts, usually. Like I said, they hide behind LLCs, they hide behind investors, they hide behind entrepreneurs. Not necessarily entrepreneurs, but they hide behind innovators, visionaries. They give themselves that title, even though they know they've stolen everything that they have. Okay, so whether they're in sheep's clothing or wolf's clothing, they've now fused themselves together where you can't even tell them apart anymore. Okay, because it's about that finance. By any means necessary, we're going to get that finance out of that person. We're going to nickel and dime them to death. And then take everything that they have and then move on. And so a lot of people find pride in that. That's my point, too. Like I heard this one idiot rambling about how he makes money off of tax liens. Okay, again, these people, believing, because it's a belief that they're so rich, by investing in tax liens, which means that a person cannot pay their taxes. They have unpaid taxes. So the wolves come in, the sheeps come in. They're all the same now, is my point, and scoop it up. The same thing they were doing when people were foreclosing. You have that type of mentality of these greedy wolves that look like sheep, or sheep that look like wolves. It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't matter what they look like. It's their ability to morph into these parasites and leeches. They look and invest on the backs of creative people that are unfortunately do not understand, because it's not about money for us. It really isn't. I told you we would do this if we didn't get paid, but we know that's illogical, especially when we need to be taking care of ourselves, have housing and proper basic necessities. So, yeah, good. So, my point is this: I'm going to do this regardless. Okay, continue with my intentions and my purpose, because I know I'll be funded for it. That's not the issue for me. I don't focus on that, but I know it's unfortunate because that is what 80% of the conversation is about. And a lot of these nonprofits, I can guarantee you, have an issue even doing the nonprofit venture, the nonprofit intentions, the nonprofit purpose, because they have to worry about the funding part of it. And that's so unfortunate. So all I'm saying is just keep moving forward. You creative types. That's what I'm talking to. My young people especially. And let me just be real honest with you. If you're in your 30s now, you really, really need to get a hold of focusing. You need to get a hold of concentrating, so that you don't go off the rails about all this financing and worrying about funding and worrying about material, worrying about money per se, and the material goods and this and that and the other. If you choose to, if you want to get through all of this, because at some point it's going to be irrelevant about all of this materialism, especially real estate. Real estate investing is the most riskiest thing out there, in my opinion. And I know we talk about financing a lot. When I say financing, meaning a lot of people just want to be financially well off. I told you I just want to know that I'm being able to take care of myself and not being a burden to anyone. In other words, I can stand on my own 2 feet just as I am now. And as I have been always. Okay? None of my family members can ever say that I was a financial burden to them, and they know that. Okay, that's why there's sometimes some jealousy and envy that creeps up in families and friends when they see you handling your business. Okay, I don't bother anybody about financing. Okay, I make sure I take care of myself in that realm, because I know how people will switch out on you. Financial issues will ruin loving relationships under the best circumstances. Don't be delusional about that. Okay. People, because it's not, so that's what I mean about love. Okay. I told you, I know what love is. And that means I'm not going to interfere. I'm not going to make it uncomfortable. I'm not going to be sticking to someone, being obsessive with someone. I will, as they say, I will still love you if you leave me. How about that? Okay, so it's about you and your innermost being, and understanding that there are uncertainties, but you can make things certain by having an intention and purpose. Okay, regardless of anybody saying and rambling about intentions. Okay, I can tell when someone's immature. I really can. And it's the words and sounds and tones that are coming out of their mouth. I can pick it up immediately. Okay, so that's because I was 30, and I know 30s was the most transformative for me than anything. And it was rough. It was rough. Okay, because I had to. It was all on me. I didn't marry into the military, where the military was taking care, because the military takes care of you. No matter what anybody says. Okay, when you go to the military, you're going to get housing, food, you're going to get your basic necessities met. Okay, don't, and that's why it's so hard for a lot of them that go into the military, and everything's provided for them, and then they get out and and that's why there's so many military on the streets as well. A lot of military are homeless because they were provided for. Okay, at the same time there was some abuse there, of course, and there's something about the structure of the military that's degenerate. Okay, let's just make that clear and effective. There are structures of the current military that are degenerate, and what they create is what we see on the streets. Okay, so a lot of them that are on the streets, you need to blame the military for that. You know, a lot of these homelessness, blame the military for that. Okay, don't blame certain politicians or certain communities. Okay, that's a military problem, the homelessness. Okay, because of how it's structured and how they set these young men and women up. You know, even like I said, it provides a sort of discipline, but there is a lot of delusion and illusion about the military. Okay, and a lot of people say, well, I'm getting taken care of. Well, you also are guinea pigs too, by the way. Okay, so consider that as well. So if you, I'm just saying, if people knew the structure of the military, they probably wouldn't have gone into there. But consider it yourself. Some people say, well, look, I'm living well. Okay. But at some point, sometimes the rug gets pulled from underneath you. And then what? So my point is with the creators, you know, you just have to keep moving. You have to keep it going, and that's how you're going to separate the weak from the strong anyway. You know, I know there's a lot of people who are patting themselves on the back about the fact that they have a nonprofit because they have the proper support, financial support, that's not usually privy to, you know, starters or unknowns like myself. Sure, if you're a celebrity or high influence or type, of course people are gonna fund you and pay attention to you and listen to you, right? Especially if what you've done for them, because usually you've worked with, you know, usually they all work together. Nepotism, you know, detached nepotism, meaning that they're not necessarily related, but they still are in the same kind of clubs. They circle around with each other. Let's just accept that, okay? But at the same time, I'm going to still do what I got to do. I find enthusiasm and optimism because I know I have value. Okay, now whether it's recognized or not, I have no control over that. I really don't. But I'm not going to I'm not going to stoop very low except to pick up something off the floor. In other words, I'm not going to stoop and beg and be submissive and subservient for anybody. That's just not how I'm made anyway. I'm going to do this the best way I can. I know funding is important. And, you know, a lot of people say, well, don't reinvent the wheel. Okay. I mean, I hear that a lot from everybody. So don't, you know, if somebody said that to me, don't be offended. I'm not, you know, but all I'm hearing, because I do a lot of research, is my point. I listen to videos. I buy books. I've been, you know, certain ventures I have been thinking about since my 30s anyway. Okay, and I'm in my 50s. So this is important to me. So that's why I keep going. The intentions are important. It doesn't matter who says otherwise, especially with the rambling I hear from people that ought to know better. You know, you need intentions. Okay, and a lot of people want to, you know, quote a lot of bullshit from people that were just giving theories and opinions. But it wasn't meant to be taken literally, is my point. Any thinking human being knows that you need intentions and a purpose. Okay? You need to have some type of objective, some type of meaning. But a lot of people like to stay swirling in garbage, this garbage thinking, where they think that they know everything about intentions and purposes, when they can barely wipe their asses and they barely have left, they have no experience, no life experiences at all. All they have is book memories or knowledge memories, and they're rambling and don't have any idea what they're talking about. And they're discouraging to creative types. Yes, it's sad that creative types get mixed up with these sharks and wolves and sheeps and these saints and these savior types, and they end up taking everything from them and dropping them. This happens all the time, and usually these people in the pyramids, they got finances at their fingertips, so they say, so they believe. And so they have no problem, scooping up somebody and then dropping them at the drop of a dime, and run into somebody else, dropping them at the drop of a dime. It means nothing to them. It doesn't shake them up at all. They have no empathy for that. It's all money. It's about money. It's about numbers. Whether you're a human being or not, it's about the numbers. Okay. I just like to make it real, to let you know that you're gonna have this discouraging situations come along, and a lot of creatives give up, or they end up with addictions. They end up depressed. They end up homeless. Okay. Theories of intentions. They try to capture the characteristic features of intentions. There's just a lot to everything. But I don't want anyone to be discouraged by listening to all this rambling going on, and these false teachers and false messengers and these false heralds. Okay? Intentions matter. Purpose matter. Do not be discouraged and be taken away from that. Okay? It's just, unfortunately, the reason why intentions are seen as not purposeful is because we're so degenerate. Okay? It has nothing to do with intentions. Okay? The best intentions do matter. Okay? And whether somebody's rambling about it or not. Okay? They wouldn't have, you get up every day for there's an intention there. There's a purpose for you to get up every morning. Okay? So I just don't want any creative type, because a lot of people are not creative types. They're just, I don't know what they are per se. A lot of them are just out there to discourage people, to steal their ideas, and, have this sense of interrupting, actually. There's a lot of interrupters out there. Instead of disruptors, they're interrupters, right? They just interrupt, interfere, because nobody's paying them any attention. There's a lot of people that are interfering with creative types, like hindering, obstructing. Yes. When they ought to just step aside and realize that they just don't have it. And all they're doing is they are parasites and leeches off of genuine creative types. And genuine creative types, like I said, are those that will do their crafts, whether they get paid or not. They genuinely care about people and they want to help. I'm one of those, okay? All right, so we're going to stop there. Because I got up really early this morning. For some reason, something got me up this morning, like around 4 a.m. on the West Coast. And and I was up because something was going on outside, and so it got me distracted. But I like I said, I have trouble sleeping just like everybody else, but I know how to rest. But I also like to know what's going on too. If something's going on outside, I need to know that and pay attention and inspect my surroundings and this and that and the other. So, but at any rate, I'm doing fantastic. I know this is probably long, and the right ears will hear it, the right people will hear it, and I just want to send this out to creatives. You have to keep it moving. You have to move forward whether you have funding or not. Do what you need to do. I know, if you have and that's why they call them starving artists. Starving artists will still be artists and starve at the same time. Okay, but that's not practical, and that's not healthy as well. So just keep it moving. Keep it moving. I am going to set the example to all of the creative types to encourage you to stay creative. Okay, despite the funding, despite the money. Okay, it'll show up once they realize you get the results. Okay, because I told you I can teach you a certain way of thinking where a lot of people will think it's magic, or think you're a sage, or think you this, or think you that. All I am is a genuine human being, and you can too. You can be the same. Okay. All right, I'm going to go ahead and send peace and love right now, but trust me, I'll be back.